This is this is Political Science, class 11, and the topic today is Prime Minister of India as the real executive. We know in our country we have parliamentary form of government in which the power is vested in the Prime Minister, who is the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha. And in the parliamentary form of government, the executive is responsible to the legislature. Now we see how the Prime Minister is appointed. You know, we don't have the election for the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is not elected, he is appointed. And he is appointed by the President of India. And that person is appointed as the Prime Minister, who is the leader of the majority party in Lok Sabha. In our constitution, in Article 74, it is mentioned that there shall be a council of ministers that will be headed by the Prime Minister to aid and advise the President. Here the word shall, that indicates that the President has to follow the advice of the Prime Minister and cannot function without the Council of Ministers. And the Council of Ministers is obviously headed by the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister is the real executive, and the real executive power is vested in the Prime Minister, and that is why he is known as the head of the government also. So his appointment. So appointment, as I have told you, that the Prime Minister is the leader of the majority party in Lok Sabha, and he is appointed by the Prime Minister. But in certain cases, the President, if he feels that there is no clear majority and no person is eligible here as such, so he can use his discretionary power also and can appoint any person as a Prime Minister. But that person as Prime Minister has to prove his majority after some time, as and when it is asked by the President. But generally the pattern is that the majority party, the leader of that party, selects or suggests the name of the person who can lead the country. Now we take the powers and functions of the Prime Minister. The powers and functions of the Prime Minister are like this. What are his roles? The Prime Minister and the President. The Prime Minister acts as a link between the Cabinet and the President. What is Cabinet, children? Cabinet is a part of the Council of Ministers. And whatever decisions are taken by the Cabinet, important decisions, they are to be communicated to the President. And obviously, the leader will communicate it, and that is the Prime Minister. So, on his advice only, on the advice of the Prime Minister only, the President summons, addresses, dissolves the Lok Sabha. Although we have seen in the powers and functions of the President, the President can do all these things, but behind these decisions taken by the President, it is the Prime Minister on whose advice the President performs such functions. So now the second is Prime Minister and the Cabinet. Cabinet is, I have told you, the smaller part of the Council of Ministers. The entire Council of Ministers is appointed, and the work and departments are allocated by the President only on the advice of the Prime Minister. And Prime Minister, he is the ex officio chairman of Council of Ministers. Ex officio means he is not the member of the Council of Ministers, but he is the part of that. He addresses and presides the meeting of the Council of Ministers. Who? The Prime Minister. Okay, and he coordinates the various works of various departments and their functions, and he can shuffle the ministers. He can change the department portfolios of the ministers as and when it is required or he feels. So in this way he is first among equals, and that is called primus inter pares. Okay, now parliament and prime minister. Here he is, as we know, the leader of Lok Sabha, and Lok Sabha has the majority party, and the leader of the majority party is appointed as the prime minister. So he is the chief spokesperson of government, and he announces all the important decisions and answers all the queries asked by any minister, any member of parliament, especially from the opposition parties. Now, prime minister and foreign relations. We know in the part of president, we had seen the diplomats, they are appointed and received by the president, but behind all these things it is the prime minister who advises or tells the president to do so. So president is the legal authority that gives the approval, but the decisions are taken by the prime minister, all sorts of decisions. All right, and he is the chief spokesperson on issues concerning foreign conduct and relations. Now, prime minister and the nation, he acts as the leader of the country and he leads the nation. He can take the country, the nation in any direction towards advancement or stagnation. That depends upon his personality and policies. Now, position of the prime minister. So that makes the person as prime minister very, very, very powerful, because he is exercising all these powers on his own, of course, with the help of the Council of Ministers. So he is the real executive who exercises vast authority. Okay, and for this reason only, some thinkers say that the parliamentary government is actually the prime ministerial government, because all these decisions, policies are led, framed, formulated by the prime minister and his influence. So actually, what is there? It depends upon the personality of the person to lead the nation. Okay, as the prime minister, how he uses these powers. We know that in our country also we have seen many influential, powerful prime ministers also, like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, and now PM Modi ji. So some are very influential and some are not. That depends upon the personality of the individual. And because of such vision, ability, capability, ideas, the prime minister can lead the nation to the great heights, okay, for better future. But we should remember one thing, that he is not acting as a dictator, okay, and he cannot act and he cannot impose all his policies on his own only without the consent of the people, because we are a democratic country. So he is also not above the rule of law or above law. He is also one of us only, who is there to serve the people, to develop the country. And if he goes beyond limit, then there are some ways to check him. Okay, so he is also not unlimited in power. And what are the ways he can be checked? Obviously, we know that in parliament there are many political party. Okay, in the election, many political party contest the election, and those who win the election, they become the members of parliament, especially of the Lok Sabha. But the government is formed only by that party whose members are more in number or who has secured more seats than the others. But the other members are also part of the Lok Sabha and they act as the opposition parties. Alright, so opposition parties from time to time they keep a check on the Prime Minister by asking the questions about his policies, about his decisions. Okay, and this way the Prime Minister cannot take any decision which is not satisfying the aspirations and needs of the people, their representatives. Okay, and his decisions are also taken with the consent of the cabinet ministers and council of ministers or according to the ruling party, and he can act as a prime minister till the time he has his majority in the parliament. Okay, and he can be checked by the press and by the public opinion also. So our press, our media, electronic media is so strong that it is always ready, it always observes the policies, the steps taken by the prime minister and other people in the country. Thank you.